Mic'd up.
Well, welcome everybody to game night at Yankees Coast to Coast with Michael Miller and Adam Snyder. That would be me.
Hi,
Here
Michael.
to talk baseball with you guys, the Yankee activity, see what's happening out there. They are now losing apparently.
Nope, it's 4-4.
It's 4-4. Oh, okay.
Thanks to our friend Anthony Volpe.
All right. So, we'll talk a little bit about that. But Yanks are doing their best to beat the heck out of these bad teams, which is good. It is upsetting that they give it back. The good things about this team is they have a terrible bullpen. So the Yankees probably, if they beat up the starter, they're going to have some luck against them late in the game, which is a good thing. But I'm in the camp right now that I don't care until I see it next week is all that matters to me. Now, of course, we want to win of this. What is it? Altogether 12 games. Who are they playing altogether here?
So they had the 3 against Washington. Now they have the 4 against the White Sox.
And then they had 3 against the.
Well, by the way, the White Sox are playing better, but they're not good. And then they have Houston and Boston and Detroit.
So they got 9 against. So wait a minute, 12 games against those guys?
No, I think it's 9 or 10. I don't know exactly. And then they finish up. Then they finish up again with. Baltimore, Minnesota, and the Baltimore, Minnesota, and Baltimore, I think. So,
right. So this I think altogether, I read somewhere that it's 12 games in all against these 3 teams. So if that's the case, then how do you feel about? Let's just say they wipe out these teams, and let's just say out of these games, we're talking about the Cardinals. They swept the Cardinals, right? They're going to they swept the Rays. They win 3 from Washington. Let's just say they win 3 out of these 4. So they win those games. What makes you feel better about this team come 2 weeks from now? Or 3 weeks from now? Is it a 6-6 against that really tough scratch? Does that make you feel better, or do they have to win 9 out of the 12 or 8 out of the 12 to make you feel that they actually can beat these guys?
So here's the situation. I said this last week, and I said this a couple of weeks ago. The Yankees are going to look really good if they make the playoffs, because they're going to go into the playoffs looking good, because they finish off with 3 against the Orioles at the end, 3 against the White Sox before that, and 4 against the Orioles before that, and 3 against the Twins before that. So that's 7 and 6. That's the last 13 games are Twins, Orioles, White Sox, Orioles. So those last 13 games, plus the 4 against the White Sox, is 17 games. The Yankees need to win 13 out of those 17 games. But they are in between, in the sandwich, is made up of 3 against the Astros, 3 against the Blue Jays, and 3 against the Tigers, and 3 against the Red Sox. So that's 12 games against those 4 teams that are either – actually, they're all in first place or ahead of the Yankees in second place. So those 12 games, if the Yankees can't prove that they could beat those 4 teams, who are obviously playoff teams, it'll be interesting to see what happens if they make the playoffs, because if they all of a sudden they win in the playoffs, it feeds into the Yankees' belief that analytics is good during the season and the playoffs are a crapshoot, which it's not, but the Yankees will continue to believe that, and that's going to be the problem. So they got 12 against those guys and 15 against those cruddy teams. The Yankees need to win 7 or 8 at least of those 12 tough games for me to believe that the Yankees have a chance in the playoffs.
I agree. And I do think that they have to really beat up. I like them. They need to beat Houston. And when they play Houston, they have to play Houston well. Another thing, playing well. You're not going to win every game.
Right.
But what you do is you play representative baseball, representative of a top division team, rather than what they are, which is a very average baseball team with a great they have a superpower. They hit a lot of home runs. Everything else, for the most part, is relatively average or weak this season. Their defense is terrible across the board, pretty much.
That's what's funny is the analytics say that their defense isn't terrible, but the errors they make. The problem is their defense isn't terrible, but the problem is that their errors that they're making are stupid errors, including the one tonight by Volpe on routine plays. And what doesn't ever come up on the whatever doesn't what also doesn't come up is the fact that they throw to the wrong base. That they don't. I mean, the other day, for example, Dominguez threw to the wrong base. It's on Dominguez.
He's been
Or
doing it all season.
right. But who's yelling at him to throw it to where? I know when we play, even at the simplest level, we tell each other, throw it to second, throw to third. Bellinger's play where he was, quite frankly, lackadaisical.
And he
right?
made it. He admitted it. And
And
then
he
what did he
admitted
do?
it.
He
But
threw the next guy out of the plate.
Where was Grisham, who was right there to say to him, throw the ball home, he's going home, or anything like that? That's what's missing. They don't seem to communicate. Where is the infielders telling him? Like if Volpe's out to set up a cutoff, he's got his back to the play. It's not on Volpe. Where is Jazz to yell that? Where is McMahon to yell, set the cut, where to set the cut and stuff like that? It seems like they do things by rote. Oh, it's a base hit, man on second. I'm going to go
And he
set up
got
the
a bad
cutoff
jump.
first and second. I'm going to set up the cutoff at third base. We don't have a chance to get the guy at the plate. Blah blah blah. And they just, all right, I'll throw the ball in. It's like taking infield practice for them. They don't actually look and feel like they're looking at the game. And I know that's one of the things we're supposed to talk about today is watching the game and looking at the game and doing all the things that you need to do to make the decisions that you need to make to make the right play. Another stupid example is Stanton just made a mistake. Bellinger was stealing second, had the base stolen, standing up, and Stanton swung at a pitch. Not only was it a pitch that he shouldn't swing at because the guy could steal, it was out of the strike zone. And he hit a little humpback liner to shortstop, which they turned into a double play. It's little stupid things like that. That's bad baseball. And that doesn't get measured in any analytic anywhere. I don't care if you are Bill James yourself and the master of sabermetrics. That little stupidity never gets measured in analytics, and that's why you have to watch the game. I mean, we spend a lot of time, as people say, talking about OPS plus, expected runs, exit velocity, runs scored, all that crap. Yeah, that's important stuff, but it's not the only thing that's out there. And that's the problem with the Yankees is this over-reliance on these numbers, and they don't watch what's going on.
But why? What? This is what I don't get. Why do these things have to be mutually exclusive? Why can't you be
Exactly.
analytically focused, but still have an override function in your architecture, where you basically say, wait a minute, the Saber guys are saying, our analytics guys are saying that Stanton is going to strike out tonight, go 0 for 4 against this guy. But he's hit 9 home runs in the last 2 weeks. He's got 15 RBIs in the last week. The guy is on fire.
Exactly.
The analytics don't factor that in at all.
From the beginning of our podcast, and this is what I said, why the playoffs are not a crapshoot. Analytics doesn't measure hot. And this is not just a baseball problem, right? I mean, it's a baseball problem because the analytics don't rely on looking at the game, and they don't measure hot. They don't measure hot. And not measuring hot is ridiculous because it's not like math. It's not like being an accountant where you have to follow the rules and you do this and you do that. It's not like being a finance guy and simply making a decision in a business that says, this is what our expense is and this is what our expected revenue is. If we're going to lose money on every deal, this is not the business we want to be in because we're not going to make up the money in volume. We're actually going to lose more money. And that's business. You can do pure numbers and make the decision. In baseball, it's hot and cold. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. Past performance is indicative of future performance in baseball, unlike in investment. But everybody reverts to mean, but it's not linear. It's
if we thought the way I think I'd like to look at stats would be breaking the season into 60-10 like 60-10 at bat snapshots.
Well, I think 10 for at bats, I think that's too small. I think for at bats, it should be around. I mean, if you figure guys could have 600 plate appearances, I think you need to split it into in the neighborhood of. I think anything less than 25 at bats is bad. 50 is probably too many because then you only have 12 of them. But I think 25 in that neighborhood of at bats and looking how a guy's
Right.
going 25 at bats. But even still, if a guy gets hot at bat number 20 after going 0 for 20, like Volpe, he's what, an 0 for 4,602 slump. All of a sudden, he gets 4 hits in a game. You have to play him the next game, even though he went 0 for 4 million. You got to play him.
And
You
that's
can't.
what I mean. That's why I think you
And the
look at these
Yankees seem
small
to
little
say,
differences.
this is your day. This is, I mean, what did Michael Kay call it? He used to call it lineup roulette, right? Who's out today? You can't do that. I
No.
mean, you just can't. You see things and you don't see things. Now, yes, there's track records against specific pitchers, right? Paul O'Neill had no business and wanted no business batting against Randy Johnson, right? Wants nothing against. He wouldn't want anything to be in there against Chris Sale. You don't want a guy like McMahon in there offensively against these tough left-handed pitchers ever. I don't care how hot McMahon is. It's not a matchup that's going to work, right? But
Mm-mm.
at a certain point in time, for guys like Stanton and Judge, where 95 to 97% of all the pitchers, it doesn't matter if the guy's a lefty, it doesn't matter if the guy's a righty. It matters how Judge and Stanton are thinking and what their mentality is and how they're playing at that specific moment. And that's what has to rule the day because there's players that are just that good that they can do that. You just can't do that and say, okay, Stanton played 4 days in a row, he's got to sit. Now, with him playing the field, obviously things are a little different and wonky because God forbid that he has to run around too much. They're afraid he's going to get hurt. But if Judge is your right fielder, you know what? He's got to play. And if Stanton goes into one of his Stanton funks, get Stanton out of the lineup for a couple of days. They took Volpe out of the lineup for 2 days. They won the 2 games. Caballero played well. Volpe comes back. The team is still scoring runs, and he still can't get a hit. Why is he playing tonight after not getting a hit?
Because they keep thinking that he won't get hot sitting on the bench like he
He's not
will.
going to get hot
He'll
sitting on the bench.
stew.
But
He'll stew.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
What
I
happened to
mean, well, they
baseball
have
being a
options.
superstitious? What happened to baseball being somewhat superstitious? Hey, the lineup worked. Let's leave it the same.
Well,
You
bothered me
know,
for the
I eat
first
chicken every meal.
450 at bats of the season. All we heard was that, Volpe is playing because they have nobody else. They don't have they don't have a backup
How they
short.
do.
Now they do, and that just shows that was BS because now they do have somebody. They have him now mired in the worst slump that he's been in all season long, hitting wise. He's finally. They said that he was making like last night. Uh, uh, what's his name? O'Neill said, "Oh well, he's been much better lately. He's been making the tough plays, been making the easy play. He's been okay." And then, of course, today he blew another easy
Yeah,
one.
I mean, he's only made 2 errors in the last 24 games. Okay, he's only made 2 errors in the last 24 games, but he still does. I mean, he still doesn't look right on the field. I mean, getting down on one knee is something an old, fat, stupid player like me does to field a grounder because there's another old, fat, stupid guy running
I
that I
think
know I can get out. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. They said McMahon made an adjustment that he finally. They said Girardi said tonight he finally met with. He spent some significant time with whatever that stupid hitting coach's name is, and
Rosen.
before the game yesterday, he spent some time and then he hit a homer. Of course, today he got up the first time up, looked terrible. And then today, I don't understand. Goldschmidt is great defensively compared to Rice, but why is Rice catching and Wells on the bench against a pus-handed, a next to nobody indifferent right-handed pitcher from the White Sox? Get Wells in there. I mean, I don't care. He's so much of a better catcher than Rice is, and against the right-handed pitcher, you might as well have him in there because Goldschmidt's not hitting the right-handed pitcher.
Well, you gotta have Rice. You gotta have Rice. You've been kind of down on Rice on a lot of things. Really going back to spring to like the winter because I kept saying I thought he was going to be their DH when they broke camp, and we had it for different reasons. I didn't think it was going to be because because Stanton wasn't going to be able to play. I didn't know that until
Right.
probably
I was
mid
saying send
February.
him down and teach him how to play. Teach him how to play first base is what I said.
Yeah, but they do. But he's such a dynamic bat. They need the bat. They
Oh,
need that
oh.
left-handed power. He's
Newsflash!
gonna.
Newsflash!
Hmm.
His UCL is still intact, but he's been diagnosed with a right flexor strain, and he's going to miss the rest of the season. Jonathan Loizaga. Oh, Volpe got a hit.
I almost had a heart
Um,
attack. I thought you were gonna say it was Judge.
no,
Uh,
McMahon
so
struck out again too. But anyhow, it's just my thing with Rice is he hits the ball in the same place almost every at bat, and while he has a great hard hit rate, his contact rate is similar to everybody else's on the team. It's not good. But he hits it in the same place every time. So when everybody says he's hitting into bad luck based on the analytics that he's hitting the ball so hard, I don't agree with that. If he's going to consistently hit the ball when he hits the ball on the ground and hits it hard and he hits it within 7 feet of second base on either side, and the shortstop's already playing him as close to second base as he can, he's going to make outs. And if he's hitting line drives and fly balls to right field that aren't going over the fence, they're always going to be outs. You can't hit the ball in the same place over and over and over again. I don't care how hard you hit it. These guys make the plays,
yeah,
except for
that will be there will be adjustments in that area. Listen, he's hitting 245
right,
this year. He's got 22 home runs, roughly 65
right.
RBIs. He's that's
Listen, I
that's
think
well above league average.
on this team as structured, he needs to play.
Can you see what his WAR is right now? Is his WAR about three?
I don't have this stuff up and open, but on this team, the
My
way it's
guess is
structured
he's
right now is.
WARing about
But
three to four.
I also think he is the classic Yankee example of a guy who's got his value as high as it's going to be.
I don't know. I don't agree. I don't agree. I think he's young enough to have a higher ceiling. I think that guys like Grisham needs to go.
Well, Grisham is peaking on a contract year. This has Aaron Hicks written all over it. But with regard to Rice, listen, if he's got the value, and if Heel shows that he's healthy, the Yankees have so many things that they need to fill. Those are the guys that will have the highest value when it comes time to try and rebuild, most likely the bullpen. And even though they're never going to get rid of Volpe, a better middle infielder. The same may be true of Chisholm as well. I mean, if they need to trade Chisholm and pick up a shortstop, they can move Volpe to second because he's clearly not a good shortstop as far as I'm concerned. I never thought. I mean, when he won the Gold Glove, nobody thought he really deserved it, and then his second year, they thought he was a little better than he was his first year, but he didn't come close to winning the Gold Glove.
Rice's WAR is 2 right now.
Right. So he's a 2.
It isn't bad. I mean,
it's
listen,
not bad, but it's nothing
player.
to jump off. It's nothing to jump off the page about.
No, not yet. But you got to think. I see there's a ceiling there, and until he proves that he doesn't have it. Until he has the regression that you see from guys like that you see from so many of their young rookies.
Well, that's the problem. You're saying the same things that we both said about Volpe after his first season. You're saying the same things that we hope to see from Peraza when he was really good in their before the rookie season that Volpe won the shortstop job. You're saying the same things about Rice that we said about those other young players the Yankees have.
Guys like Andahar, guys like
exactly. Well, Andujar's hitting over 300. Don't get me started. All of a sudden, the guy remembered how to hit. No power whatsoever. But he's hitting over 300.
He's not hitting. He's in Oakland still, right?
No, he's in Cincinnati.
Oh, so how did he hit? Did he hit home runs in Oakland?
No,
not in Oakland.
No, but he was last year when he came to the A's. He hit over 300. He left Oakland. He was hitting over 300, and he's still batting very well for Cincinnati. Now, granted, Cincinnati's even more of a bandbox than Sacramento, but still,
no power.
We've said the same thing about all these guys and all the Yankee players, even to a lesser extent, guys like Sanchez. Right? The Yankees found something in Urshela, and I said, get rid of him right away because he's going to go back to what he was. Mike Tauchman is back this year, is playing well, but once the Yankees got rid of him, he stunk until this year, pretty much. I mean, there's guys, you can't hold on to these guys. You just can't.
And they do this. This is a problem.
Right,
It's been
which is why
ongoing
I'm
for
an advocate
years
of,
and years.
after this season, Rice is your one of your biggest trade chips. If there's any chance in hell that the Guardians are looking to dump a Quan, or all of a sudden, what's his face, Ramirez, the third baseman, is like, get me out of this place. You guys are constantly dumping, and I love it here, but you're constantly wasting my life here. If there's a player that comes about that is all of a sudden on the market, realistically, I'm not talking Paul Skeens because the Pirates should never trade him. This is where you use your assets. And Rice would be an asset, and Heel, if he continues to pitch well, which he's been doing, proves himself healthy, they have depth. They have depth at the starting pitching rotation, especially since Schlittler wasn't even their top prospect, and he's showing that he can actually do the job. And they've got Cole coming back. So it just, you got to take advantage of these younger guys who've proven they can play in the major leagues. And I'm not saying trade Jay Buhner for an over the hill Phelps. What was the guy's name? Phelps? The Jay Buhner trade?
Ken Phelps.
Ken Phelps. I'm not saying trade Jay Buhner and other players for Ken Phelps, but I am saying take your 23, 24-year-old Rice, take your 25, 26-year-old Heel, and trade for a 24, 25-year-old stud that you can get from somebody else who's better than both Rice and Heel, and go from there.
But what I'd like to see, and you brought up Quan. I think Quan is under control through 27, so he's it
He's
would
having
be.
a good year, by the way.
Hmm?
He's not having that good a year.
Listen, that team. The way I look at it is, he comes to the Yankees. He's got the attitude not to try to become a pull happy home run hitter. He's gonna just want to be a
Unless the Yankees tell him that's what he's got to be, which
But can you imagine him leading off, playing left field? I would trade Dominguez this offseason for that. You make some deals now. You got to move these guys. Here's what you do: you have him in center. They're not going to bring Bellinger back. Bellinger's going to ask for a big contract. He's going to get it somewhere else, and the Yankees won't pay it. So he's going to end up going somewhere else. The Yankees.
I think Bellinger is going to get it. And I would rather give it to Bellinger than to Tucker, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because you never know how somebody's going to be in New York. And I'm not saying that Bellinger's a better player than Tucker, especially since he's older. But he's a proven commodity in New York, and you might need him at first base next year.
I love him. I think he's great, and I love his versatility. I love his attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I like his 2-strike approach. I like everything about the way he plays the game. He's a great player. That's what I mean. He's having a great season now. He's going to go somewhere else with big money because he's got the right agent for it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to give the Yankees a hometown discount. The Yankees aren't going to give him the money. So
but if the Yankees are going to spend money, I think they'd sooner spend it on Bellinger than they would on a guy like Bo Bichette or Tucker or any of the other potential free agents that are out there, with those two being at the top of the class.
Well, they're going to keep when it comes to Bichette, the problem is going to be that they don't want to prove that Volpe, that admission that Volpe was a bust. They bring that in. Can you imagine what that would mean? It makes me nuts because it's exactly what they should be doing right now. They should be thinking in regard to get him out of town. He's not designed.
I've said from the beginning, Volpe doesn't have the arm to play shortstop, and right now he doesn't have the glove to even play anywhere on the field.
And they're not right now.
Most of his errors this year have not been throws; they've been boots.
I think a lot of the problems, and I read this somewhere that was it really seemed to be astute. He lays back a lot.
Well, that's a confidence issue.
One of the things that Jeter did very well. Jeter had a better arm than this guy does, even though it's not as elite as others. But Jeter was all about his footwork. He could get in for a ball and make the play. This guy seems to stay back, and that's a disaster.
He used to not stay back. I think that's a confidence issue. Same thing with getting down on one knee. I think it's just he's become bad. I mean, one of the things that you're taught and you teach people, some people do it instinctually and other people do it because they're taught, especially through repetition, is you can read a grounder, now taking out the wacky spinners, but you can read a grounder and give yourself a better hop on most ground balls. It's not like they're playing on fields like we played on in high school or even college, or that we play on now. These fields are carpets. They're immaculate. The number of bad hops are, less than 1%. So these
Mm.
guys, and with repetition and with not having anything to do except be a professional baseball player, they should be able to work on giving themselves the better hop, reading a ground ball, being able to understand how hard it's hit, being able to see where it's going to be and read the play and get yourself a good hop. And now nobody really has AstroTurf or any artificial surface, um, that you have to worry about that second hop being wackadoodle. And every infielder should be able to do this. I mean, we have a field at our high school. Now, you've never played at the high school field where I coach. It was one of the best fields in the Bay Area for a high school. And we were teaching our guys and telling our guys, read the hops. And the way we would do the read the hops was we would do the simple rollout drills. Then we'd do bouncing drills with the rollouts. And then we'd move a little bit further back and do bouncing drills. And then we'd eventually get to fungos from home plate to the different infield positions so that they could read the grounders. But we were teaching people to take and read the hop. What hop should they do? And if we were working with one shortstop, the third baseman would be watching, and one coach would be with the third baseman and say, okay, did he get the right hop? What could he have done different? And then when the third baseman's doing it, we do the same thing with the shortstop. So they can see what we're talking about, not just when they're doing it, but watching other people do it. That's what I would imagine they've been doing their entire life as major league players, all through the minor leagues in college or wherever they played, and what they do in spring training, just for muscle memory purposes. That's the whole thing, and I don't see how the Yankees and Volpe in this situation is so bad at it. Quite frankly, I don't think Jazz is very good at it at second base, but he's just so much more athletic than everybody else that he can
And
cover
he's
for
got
him.
that big. He's got a shotgun arm.
He's got a
His
big
guy
arm.
can't
For a
control it.
second baseman, he's got a big arm.
He's got a big arm.
So,
He's got an arm like a definitely a shortstop's and
well,
third
like a
base.
center fielder, which is why they moved him out there in the first place.
But all right, we only have a couple more minutes. I want to bring something up though. I want to ask you. I read an article today about the move. Um about the realignment of baseball. Very quickly, we're going to have a long show about this, I'm sure. But real fast, in 2 minutes, what do you think about the idea of recasting the leagues as the North and the East, and combining the leagues and creating really great regional rivalries?
I have no problem with it in theory, except it's not like basketball and football where salaries are within range of each other. They were talking about the Yankees being in a division with the Mets, Boston, Philly,
No,
right?
no.
You can't do that.
Phillies.
You
The Phillies
can't.
are good.
And
Phillies
they're
going to be in
talking
the
about
East.
right, and they're talking about the Braves being in a division with both the Florida teams and the new Nashville team.
Yeah.
You tell me how the Braves aren't going to win every single division for the rest of baseball history if they're in there with Miami, Tampa, and Nashville, because
Well,
they're
they get
talking
better
about
ownership. They become winners. They begin.
they're
They
not going to do it. They're
growing.
never going to do it. The people don't go to the games. If the people don't go to the games, they're never going to spend the money. And even when the people do go to the games, some teams don't spend the money. The Pirates have one of the best stadiums in all of baseball. All of baseball, one of the best stadiums in all of baseball.
Yeah.
And they can't put people in the stadium and they don't want to spend money. I mean, the mere fact that people actually, I don't think it was reality that they were going to think about trading Skeens, but the mere fact that that was actually a conversation people would have was merely because the Pirates won't spend any money. And you can't, even with that stadium, look at the Orioles. They had that great stadium. They even had a great team and great attendance the last couple of years. What did they do this offseason? They didn't spend any freaking money on pitching. And their young players seem to be having the same problem the Yankees' young players have, is they're not playing very well and not hitting very well.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not.
start.
What about the traditionalist aspect? Do you think that it breaks tradition? Like, I think that it's
I
kind
don't.
of
I don't
both
care about
negative.
American League. I don't care about American League, National League tradition. I understand the reason why you would do those things because think about Seattle and if they put a team in Salt Lake or even in Portland. I mean, you talk about the travel situation would be so much better for everybody.
Yeah.
So it would be a little bit more equal. So I understand that, but you can't do it in baseball without a salary cap and a salary floor.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the teams that are geographically close to each other all seem to have similar salary philosophies in life,
Yeah.
right?
Well, because they come from that's why a team like Philadelphia would not be able to be in the East. They would put them in or
Why
the
they
East.
spend
They would
money?
be in the North. No,
They spend.
I saw a version of it that doesn't have the Phillies are playing in the are in the National League, or sorry, are in the East. The Yankees are in the North, so they have
Right.
the North. They have a North set up that the Phillies don't play in their division; they play
Right.
somewhere else
I mean,
because
they talk about it like football, but what they don't remember, what somebody missed the boat on is in football, the American Conference and the National Conference. Yes, the teams are geographically distributed, but there's a Western type division in the
yeah,
AFC West and the NFC West. So the Jets and the Patriots and the Dolphins and are all in the same comp, and the Bills are all in the same division, but they're in the same conference with the Chargers.
yeah.
So I mean, it's not like baseball's talking about having a line in the sand where the conferences are divided up east and west, like basketball,
Mhm.
where all the Western teams, for the most part, Memphis being an exception, are in the. Bellinger just hit another home run. Oh no, he didn't. He dropped the fly ball. Talking. The all the teams in basketball are split east and west,
Mhm.
right? It's the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. Football is the National Conference and the American Conference. So when they say football, then whoever says football, which is one of the things that our friend Manfred said, was like football and basketball. Well, football's not like that. Basketball is absolutely like that. But baseball can't do it until they figure out how to have salaries where one team spends $300 million and another team spends 72 can exist.
Yeah.
Not to mention
Okay.
the fact that you really have a team that pays almost 400 in the Dodgers and another team that's 72.
All
So,
right. Well,
by
it's
the
a
way, the
good
guy the
conversation
Yankees
to
need to
have
look
down
at
the
is that
road.
is the infielder from the Japanese league. That's who they need to. That's who they need to pick up because that's a guy who will make contact and play.
All right,
But he's
that
a
would be nice.
shortstop.
Okay, buddy.
Also, so
What else?
yeah,
What?
that's it. The
All right.
Yankees made another. It wasn't a base running error, but there was a faux pas on the bases. But
All
it
right.
wasn't
I'll
a
go
base
watch
running error.
it. All right, buddy.
I will see you.
Have
We
fun
didn't
in
really get
jail.
into the. I think we're going to need shows on, just so you know, in the offseason, shows on this realignment BS, which I think is fine. I'm not an American League, National League. I'm not going to go all Bob Costas, jump up and down and scream. But I think this also, the value of analytics versus watching the game and the balance and where it needs to be. But there's clearly no balance.
Well, I
There's
think that
no
we need
balance
that
whatsoever.
play. We're gonna see that. Let's see how this plays out in the playoffs because I think we're gonna learn a lot about it.
Well,
You
playoffs
know.
is a crapshoot. Just ask Cashman; he'll tell you.
All right. I'll
All
do,
right, have
man.
a good one. Bye bye.